Hello and welcome to the Vlogging Pod. Tonight we are joined by Heidi Stark. Welcome to the room, Heidi. How are you this evening?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. It could be warmer, but
Fair. Well,
I'm
I
doing.
can't say the same. I'm sitting here in Hawaii, and it's beautiful and sunny, and it's only 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh, gee, you know, Rhett, that leads me right into my first question because I was going to ask you, how does someone from New Zealand end up in the US? But you just kind of answered it by telling me you're in Hawaii.
Yeah. Well, I kind of bounced back and forth while I was growing up. I actually graduated from high school in Nevada.
Mhm.
And after some time back in New Zealand and in Canada as well, I ended up back here. And Hawaii is newer for me. I spent a lot of time in Washington, D.C., but then California. But Hawaii's been about a year in the
Okay.
making. And it's somewhere that my mom used to be obsessed with growing up. So we'd come on vacation. So it's like a second home for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I've always been fascinated with New Zealand. My husband's family, his grandparents were Norwegian and they immigrated. So I've always been kind of fascinated with the whole, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the whole lifestyle. So what exactly made you do the move?
It was a combination: family, work, school, all of the things. Hawaii was more, I just kind of had this opportunity in my life to move somewhere. And just again, Hawaii being like a second home. And I think I'm getting as close as I can to New Zealand without actually like leaving the United States. I'm just creeping slowly closer. Yeah.
Right. Right. Well, your accent is brilliant. I love it.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Um, so now I've been doing a little information, doing a little research like I like to do. And I'm just going to generalize it from one version because we know when we talk about how many titles you have, that can include from ebooks to Audible to paperback. But according to just your Kindle titles, you have 19 books, right?
That
Published.
sounds about right. Yeah.
Okay. So tell me what the drive is for you to keep writing to where you have 19 to your name.
I really enjoy it. I've written kind of throughout my life. Looking back on it now, I see that it's been a bit of a pattern that I've always come back to it. And now, obviously, it's a full time thing for me. I like getting stories out that I feel need to be told. And like, I'm not always dealing with the most serious subject matter, but I think that, everyone's got some trauma. We've all got some of that, and it can be helpful for people to work through that through dark romance. I like making people feel things in general. So, like knowing that something I write in a book can make someone laugh or cry. I feel bad making people cry, but it's making them feel. Just kind of being able to like have people immerse themselves in another world is something I'm really passionate about.
I kind of understand that. Even if someone totally hates it, okay? Um
Yeah,
the fact that they read the entirety of the book and it moved emotions, even if they're just like throwing tomatoes at me, but they read
yeah,
the entirety. So, in order to do that, you have really got to be a good writer to invoke passions in such a way. I mean, people might not have liked your portrayal and they might not like that it was ended in the fairy tale romance, but
right.
still, you to invoke feelings of that much passion. I mean, I have to tip my hat to someone who can do that.
Yeah, it's really rewarding when you can. And like you say, like sometimes the feeling they might have towards the book is not great, but that's okay too. And I think that making people be able to feel whatever that emotion is a powerful tool.
Oh, yes, it is. So now you have 19 books. When was the first year that you published your first book?
It was a couple of years ago. I want to say 2022. Um, I just decided I'm a reformed HR person, shall we say? And so I was in my
Uh-huh.
corporate job, and I was writing. I was dealing with some stuff that you go through in that kind of a role, and I thought I'm just going to use this as a bit of a cathartic thing and write some billionaire romance that's workplace romance, and they're not professionally edited or anything like that. They are available, but they're just fun and.
Mhm.
People were coming out and saying this book is an HR nightmare. So I took some joy in that because it was a nice contrast from being an HR person, and it kind of
Mhm.
grew from there. So that's where it started, and definitely have branched away from that into dark romance, reverse harem, etc. But that's kind of the genesis of it all.
Right. So, only 3 years into writing, you've already published 19 books. I
Right.
mean, how does your time frame work out? I mean, is it just a couple of months and you're right to the next one?
Yes, and sometimes, I get multiple ideas at once. I think a lot of us writers, and you probably go through the same thing. You start writing a book, and you have this idea, and then you have this other idea. So there's kind of a constant stream or queue of ideas, and basically just trying to prioritize those and get them out. So I go through a writing phase. I try to focus on the one book and keep my other ideas kind of in parking until I'm ready for those. And then once they go to my editor and my beta reading teams, like that's when I kind of focus on marketing. So it's a constant stream. I do release almost monthly, which is quite frequently, but I just get in the cycle of intensive writing and then hold off while other people are reviewing my work and I'm starting to dream up the next concept.
Nice. That's impressive. That really is. I know when I first started, I put out a book every so many months as well, but I got a little stagnant.
Fair enough. No, I
I
don't think it's something I could always do. Like monthly for the rest of my life, definitely not. You do get burnt out, honestly. But at the
yeah,
moment, it's working, and it will work till it doesn't. And by then, I'll have a decent backlist for readers to keep them busy while I take some time and maybe vacation or something.
right. I just went back to a lot of work. I have like 7 unfinished books. Well, 6 now. I finished I know you laughing, but it's true. I started
Yeah.
one in 2015 and just now published it.
Oh
And
wow.
I know. And then you go back and like, what was I thinking when I was writing this? What the beep beep is this?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I understand that. I my problem is that I get an idea and I'll drift around. Like I want to, you know what I'm saying? Like you'll get another story idea and you'll start something else, and I still haven't finished something else. And my husband, which is the reason I went back to the books, because my husband said, "You need to finish a series. You need to finish a series." And I'm like, "Well, crap." So I went
Yeah.
back and finished it. But tongue tied. I applaud you for able to do that.
Oh,
Like I
thanks.
said, I had a little bit of a stream of it, but I don't know. Life kind of pushed me a little bit out of the, the writing seat a little bit.
That's fair
So
enough. It happens.
yes. So let's talk Hearts of the Underworld. Now this is just released in March 19th, if I'm correct.
Yeah, so Marco Hearts of the Underworld is a dark mafia romance that's my most recent release.
Mhm.
And it's going to be part of a series of interconnected standalones that focus on these different characters in the mafia underground. And so, like, starting with Marco as an alpha male mafia boss and telling the story of him and Alessia. So, that's been a cute book. A lot of people say it's a palate cleanser. It's only 191 pages, so it's on the shorter side for my books.
Mhm.
But it's got all the things like grumpy sunshine, fake marriage tropes, dark romance aspects to it, a lot of mafia, and then of course a happily ever after with spicy scenes thrown in between as well.
Nice. So are you're gonna stick around for the you're gonna drift around with characters with are mentioned in the first book and then go for the
Yes,
next? Okay, I
yeah,
see.
yeah. I've already had some requests. There is a one of Marco's men, Luca, is people's number one choice for the next story. So no promises, but it's highly likely he will be the main male character in the second book.
Nice. When do you have plans on releasing the second in that?
Um, I haven't scheduled it out. I try and hold myself accountable to this release schedule with pre-orders. I have not put it up yet, but I think I'm booked up until probably the next time I could actually like get to it would be August, September. So we'll see. We'll see what the vibes are. I've got a few different things happening in between then and now, and just see what the readers want and what my writing inspiration is at the time as well.
Nice. I'm very envious. You seem very organized.
I it varies from day to day.
Well, you seem a lot more organized than I am. I'm be like, "Oh, the sun's out. I must go outside."
It's a
But
good
you
start.
live where it's sunny all the time, so I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't know how you do it. I would be I'm not HDH what do you call that? HDHD, is that what it is? where I've got attention span problems, but it feels that way sometimes. I'm like, "Oh, squirrel," like a dog, like, "Oh,
Oh
squirrel."
yeah, there's a group of us authors that we have a little chat group, and we talk about that. We spend so much time talking about all the things we're doing that are not writing, so it can be hard to kind of hold yourself to it. But a lot of inspirational people around me, they set themselves these words per day and what have you, and it just kind of reminds me that I need to do the same thing.
Yeah, I used to. I used to take my laptop even to the bathroom so that I was secluded,
Oh
and I
well,
at least would
yeah,
I know. But I rarely have a laptop now. I mean, I have a little one here in my sound booth that works with 2 other computers, but I rarely have just a laptop anymore. I usually work on, you know what I mean, the modems and little things around the other place. You know how now you can get them the size of your hand for a
yeah,
CPU unit. So, I rarely have one mobile. But yeah, I used to do that and keep track of my word counts, but I am now it's, sporadic, you know what I mean? But I'm
yeah.
trying to get more organized in that. I'm blaming it on my age. I will say
Oh,
that.
I think I blame it on just being a writer in general. We're just all like that to some
Yeah,
extent.
I get you. Well, life happens, and sometimes I get preoccupied in what's going around me, and then I lose total focus, so but
Fair enough.
that's what I got Laura for. She, like, whips and chains me, and is like, "Hey, what's your word count today? You get at it?"
Oh, it's awesome to have her on your team. It's great.
I know, she's fantastic. I don't know what I would do without her. So, for those of us who may not know, let's dive a little deeper into what you have as your basic genre, which is contemporary dark romance author
Yeah,
specializing in badass FMCs and
yeah.
morally gray men. Explain that to me.
Yeah, so I think dark romance is one of those things that everyone has a slightly different definition, but it does tend to touch on topics that people might find triggering, just the darker side of life. So that tends to be a lot of kidnapping and stalking, sometimes multiple times within the same book. Definitely on the spicier side as well. And so in terms of the characters within that, badass FMCs, I'm looking at people who are strong women, usually have encountered some form of trauma in their past that they're working through. And so we see a lot of development arcs, where a person's really finding themselves and how strong they are over the course of the book. And in terms of the morally grey men,
Hmm.
it's really about people who might make decisions that aren't necessarily considered the, you know, if you had an angel and a devil on your shoulder, they're going to pick
Hmm.
maybe what the devil would do. There's a lot of mafia, gangs, kidnapping, all those kind of things, and the spicy scenes that tend to be a little bit more dominant, things like that. But it's funny because I always ask my beta readers, what would you rate this on a darkness scale of 1 to 5? And like literally from my most recent book, I had someone say 1, 2, 4, and 5. So it's highly personal what dark means for every individual reader.
Mm, I see. So, what made the draw for you? What made this the genre that you were most drawn to?
I think it's really interesting. Like someone said in one of the, there's all these Facebook groups for readers and they're so wonderful and people ask for really specific things. And someone said, why don't writers write more like friends to lovers or nice guys, cinnamon roll men? And it's like, because it's really fun to write enemies to lovers and forced proximity and kidnapping. And, you have the action, adventure, suspense, drama, all those things. So I think that I'm attracted to that side of it because you can be a little bit outrageous with these situations. Like I have a whole torture scene that's modeled off a crazy game show, basically, and it was fun to write it. And people have given me really, really interesting feedback. Like some of them were like, "Wow, this is just the most bizarre, incredible scene," and that's fun. And I think you can push the boundaries a little bit further with dark romance, maybe than some other genres. And
Mhm.
then there's just like as a human being, I may have swear words as part of my vocabulary. You can be a bit more like free and loose with how the characters are as
Yes.
well in this genre. Yeah,
Right. I get you on that. I'm free and loose with some swear words too in my books, so it's
yeah.
okay. My mother loves that. Well, not really, but she was like, "Wow, there's a lot of liquid language in here."
Liquid language. That's a good one.
Yeah. That's like flowing in here.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, my grandmother, she's so cute. She's in New Zealand and she ordered all of my books without telling me. And so she gets on Facebook every now and then and she just sends me a picture and goes, "Look what I got." And I was like, "Thank you for your support. Please do not read them." And so she read them all. And I said to her, "Please don't read like the naughty bits, just skip through them." And she said, "Well, dear, they were kind of hard to miss." So it's always funny seeing your mom and your grandma's reactions to these things.
Yeah, my last one, my mother goes, "Is this it? Is that all there was?" "Well, yeah, it takes a while for the next book to be written, Mom." No pressure.
None at all.
Yeah, not at all. So let's talk about your process. I know a lot of people are plotters, like they just plot and plot and plot.
Yeah.
I'm a little different. Most people are against this, okay, but rarity I find someone who's like me, and I'm always like, I know we're connected, but it might not be in this case, and that's fine. But
Yeah.
for me, I never know where the ending is going. It's kind of like I'm reading the excitement, and it's like like you know what I mean. When you're finally finding that great author and you're following along, you just love the series. I like doing that with my own books. So, which are you? Are you the plotter, or are you just by you know what I mean, just letting it go and it being a surprise to you at the end?
Combination. I definitely started out as a 100% what do they say, pantser, like no
Mhm.
plot whatsoever. It start the book, see where it goes,
Right.
and I found that the story was really leading me. And
Mhm.
that's great sometimes, but it also means there's a high likelihood that I won't end up finishing the book because there's so many ways it
Ah.
can go and it gets too exciting. So I try to come up with the starting premise, some key things that will happen through the course of the book, and then have a fairly detailed idea of the ending so that I can hold myself to that overarching, like, what is going to happen to this character over the course of the book. What, do they have an emotional wound that's going to heal, and just to make sure I keep track of that so it doesn't just spiral into some weird space in my mind.
Mhm. Right. I I'll be honest with you, I think I'm like that too. When I know the ending, like when you were saying, not knowing the ending can make you pause out. I think I'm the other way of that. When I know the ending, it's hard for me to finish the book. When I've already
Okay.
concluded in my head how I'm gonna write it, and then I'm like, it feels like it's done. You know what I mean? Like there's no
Yeah.
more excitement for me. And I have a
Yeah.
really hard issue with that. But yeah, I can kind of relate. But um so when you do your characters, do they build as the book builds, or do you kind of already have the rough edges about how your characters are going when you first start?
It depends, in how central of a character they are, and with Blood and Sand series, so that's my surfing reverse harem series. Um, I went really intensive with the character builds up front. I really wanted to understand their deep motivations, and I knew this was going to span multiple books. At the time I wrote it, I thought maybe two. Now we're up to six, and that's going to conclude the series in June. But that was really helpful in thinking anything from their body language, the way they spoke, um, you know, helping me to put little just Easter eggs in the course of the book that people could pick up on that might come up later in time. Um, but then sometimes if a character is not, sometimes like you say, there's an excitement with not knowing exactly. Like I might know some
Mhm.
rough sketch of a character, and I get just as surprised writing it as someone might reading it. So it varies.
Right. Fair. I understand that. So now your cover work, they're darkly rich. I went through and I looked at all your covers. They're very darkly rich. Now, how does those come about? Do you have full autonomy to that, or are you actually having someone do it, or do you converse with them, or do you do them yourselves?
I do them myself, and I was quite surprised by that. It's not something I thought I could do, but I actually get a lot of joy out of creating these. And yeah, I try and make things that are fitting for the genre, but also, reflective of my style. And so quite a few of the covers are discreet. There are
Mhm.
some with hot men on the front. I know that people like to have an option. Um, but yeah, it's been something that I've really enjoyed. And so when someone says, "Oh, that's a really pretty cover," that's just something that I feel like is an achievement that I didn't expect to have, and I want to keep doing it. And I'm not an expert, but I think that they look. I don't know. I like having them on my shelf, so I hope other people do too.
Now, with you doing your own covers, are you self-published or do you go along with a publisher?
I am self-published, yes.
Okay. So like I said, I do a little bit of research and I was watching some of your videos for TikTok and such, and I was looking at like thinking, wow, where the heck does she get the boxes her books are coming in? So tell
Oh,
me, dig out.
oh,
I mean, I'm
did
in
you
love
see
with
my PR boxes that this your foot on them?
yes, yes, I'm in love with that.
Oh, well, I designed those too.
Oh
So
my
yeah,
heaven, those are
I had
awesome.
thank you so much. I had so much fun designing them, and it was like, where do I start? And just wanted to go with that kind of dark romance surfing theme for Blood and Sand series, and it translates over from the covers of the books, and really just wanted to bring those vibes into that. And so I've got like a giveaway going and an application of interest as well for people with bookish accounts to actually get some of those in the lead up to Sea of Redemption. But they're going to be like dark romance, beach theme. I've got some exciting swag that's going to be inside each of them.
Well, that is fantastic. I love the idea. I was watching and I was seeing that the boxes resembled some of the books, and I was like, holy freaky, oi, where'd she get those?
Yeah,
Those are awesome ideas. I love that. So,
thanks.
as we're on our little 20 minutes here, let me ask you, what is on the horizon? What's next? What's coming your way?
Oh, it's an exciting time. Three things are coming, and I'll be quick because I know we're at time too. So, we've got Pretty Lovely Lies coming out this coming Tuesday. It is a dark romance with mafia undertones, but it's an FBI romance, and it's really single mother, single parent trope.
Mhm.
Always with a happily ever after there, as usual. And then Rush is coming out early June. That is a rugby reverse harem. It's going to be less dark than my other books with more comedy and spice. So I'm really excited about that. Being from New Zealand, rugby is near and dear to my heart. And then Sea of Redemption will close out the Blood and Sand series at the end of June. So a few things in the works right now.
Fantastic. I'm really liking it. I see great things coming for you. I really do. You seem to have it all together. Your books seem very enticing. And actually, I put a few in my cart.
Ooh, that's always good to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So we're at that point in the time today where we're our Amazon deal of the day. Today, I chose something very simple because I love these. I love dark chocolate, guys. I don't know if you know that about me, but I so the York dark chocolate peppermint patties candy ball. There is 84 ounces, 175 pieces. It's down 25%. Normally ranges 19.99. It's down to 14.99. You save $5, 25% off. Link will be in the bio for all those who are interested. Thank you so much, Heidi, for being with us today. I really enjoyed speaking with you.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you to our listeners. Until next time, bye bye for now.